And we're departing a little bit from the service that he desired, which, if you look forward in your bulletin, is very short. And I decided that no, I need to come up and say a few words about this fellow who's just doing so. But more than anything else, my brothers and I would like to thank all of you for supporting us today. And not only just today, but through the whole time that we've been here in the little church. What do you say to God? How do you say goodbye to your Father the last time? We love you. Your sons love you. Your grandchildren and great-grandchildren love you. Oh, maybe. Those words sound sort of insignificant at the moment, though. We will all miss you. Well, I think I would want to hear anything except something that sounded like goodbye. Maybe we'll see you later. I don't know, it's hard to tell. None of us know what we would like to hear. And God hasn't given us anyone that comes back to share the experience. The only one was his Son, Jesus Christ. And the scriptures don't record what he wanted. Only that a place had been prepared for us, and that those left behind would be cared for. Dad was an interesting man. He was really very intelligent, but he preferred to be treated like a common man fresh out of a hayfield. He wasn't pretentious or flashy. There were no big houses, no fancy cars. And when I was in high school, all my friends who were the sons of doctors drove hot, fast in the car. I had a very cute, pink Dodge Colt mini station wagon. It was automatic. It was a whole lot of fun, but it wasn't really what you'd call flat. I don't know, we three boys, my brothers and I, grew up fearless and unbreakable. In the house of a doctor, you'd fall out of a tree or misstep on a broken bottle or rusty nail. Just resulted in a quick trip down to the office, maybe a shot, some pills, a few stitches, a cast, and we're off on our next adventure. On the football team, when my friends would get injured, I'd say, you know, go see my dad if you want to play the rest of the season. Most others will find a reason to bench you. Dad was really good with tape, and he didn't really care too much about pain, especially other people. But he did know when things were serious, and if you wanted to play, he could probably patch you up good enough to go on with the rest of the season. And of course, his medical practice kind of defined a lot of what that was. And there was a young man who came up at a party not too long ago and introduced himself by saying, Dr. Michalek, you were the first person I met in Roseburg. Well, Dad was a little confused at first because he didn't recognize a 30-something-year-old young man until he clarified, yeah, you delivered me. And over Dad's 30-some years of practice, he delivered a fair percentage of the population here in Roseburg. And he really did enjoy that part of his practice. He got a kick out of bringing newborn into the world. It was really sad when he felt like he had to let that part of his practice go. And the other thing about Dad was he was a socialist. He talked the talk and he walked the walk. Throughout his practice, he accepted cases of jam and fishing trips in exchange for his medical services. Remember the cute little pink Dodge Colt station? I asked him one time, I said, Dad, why don't you expect cash payment? And he said, well, some people just don't have the money. I like jam and I like fishing, so it works for me. That was it. I always felt he'd be good practicing medicine on some impoverished Latin American beach, providing medical services to the locals in exchange for fish and rice and beans, just knowing that he was doing well for those that were in need. He ate well every night. He was warm in the winter. And what else really mattered? That's the way he thought. Dad, his medical practice wasn't really big in his life. His passions were hunting and fishing. I gave him an opportunity to get out and be a tough guy. And he was a tough guy. He'd bring his sons along with him, and it turns out we weren't quite so tough. None of us lost any fingers or toes to frostbite, and none of us drowned. But we did learn to appreciate a cold, frosty morning and the majesty of the ocean. And let me tell you, the ocean can be pretty darn majestic in an 18-foot ski boat. I breathed a sigh of relief when the Coast Guard finally started keeping the boats into the dock and not letting them out at all when it was too rough to get out. I've been told too many times, go! Across the Winchester Bar when the Coast Guard was sitting up there trying to keep it in. And his comment was, well, they can't stop you in the middle of it or you'll capsize. And we'll be out fishing. Of course, we might die, but we'd be out fishing. In his later years, he took up hunting on a relative's ranch in Montana. He loved those trips. I was never able to take a week or two off to go with him, but I know he looked forward to that. To his dying day, he was looking forward to this trip to Montana. It brought him back to his small town, ranching, farming community that he grew up in Ipswich, South Dakota. And he loved the camaraderie of the small community. And he also almost always got his butt. A lot of times on his birthday, he got so good at it, I started thinking, well, maybe those Montana relatives are just tying one up out there. Yeah, Dad did love his hunting and fishing, but he cared mightily for others. My whole childhood, and after I left the house, there was almost always an extra living there. There were Egyptians, Koreans, Costa Ricans, Czechoslovakians. From time to time, a relative would be there, or just a member of the community that needed a safe place to stay. Mom was always kind of the front man, but Dad made it all possible. Dad was an unsung hero. He cared for the sick and the downtrodden, and his home was open to all. And he asked little or nothing in return. There's a lot of us that owe him a debt that we will never repay. Dad, I hope you can hear these heartfelt words. We all love you. Your sons love you. Your grandchildren and great-grandchildren love you. We will all